Hello, everybody. This is Dan Neely with NFL DFS Picks. We're going to do a live stream of Draftkings' biggest paying out best ball draft. I am the one pick, which is great. I just did a draft on Drafters earlier, and I was the one pick. So, I'm going to take advantage of the situation I'm in to teach you guys how to navigate the draft from the one pick. And I tell you what, I'm going to go with McCaffrey just for the better chance that somebody is most likely would go with McCaffrey too. So I don't want to start this off with a wide receiver, because then it'll be pretty much just the same as you getting anywhere between picks 2 and 6 or 7. So, I don't think we need to take a receiver, because I think you'll get less out of this video. Navigating the one spot is probably one of the trickiest things that you can do this year. I've done about 300 drafts now. And I think that, one of the things that is real important is you have to get wide receivers when it comes back to you, and you can't just fall in love with somebody. You just can't fall in love with a running back that's still on the board unless it's like Jonathan Taylor slides or something ridiculous. But you're best off getting 2 good receivers. I don't like a lot of the receivers here getting drafted at the turn anyway. So I think that really you can get 2 guys that should be going about 3 picks earlier, because I don't really love Garrett Wilson. I don't really love Drake London. I don't really love Chris Olave being drafted as high as they are. I think they're great players. I just think that they should be behind guys like Mike Evans and Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and Nico Collins, absolutely, for sure. Marvin Harrison Jr. is interesting, and Neighbors is interesting. So far, we're at the 8 pick. Let me see if I recognize any of these names in here. Basketball. Dr. Carstenstein, Gromit, 9183. Josh Zollinger. Hey, if you're happen to be watching on YouTube and you're in the draft, throw out your team name for me so I can check on your team as we go. All right. So we're at the turn here. We're at the 12 spot. Breece Hall just went. We'll put on the draft board so it's a little bit better view here until it gets close to my turn. So I've probably done around 40 or 50 of this tournament. I've been doing one a night, and I'm starting to get a pretty good feel for, what I can do in these. I've had the one pick probably 25 times on Draftkings total this year. I'm pretty much close to maxing out the $3 tournament. If you're new to DraftKings and you want to do some of these drafts, I would recommend getting into $3 tournaments before you get into these $20 tournaments. It takes a little bit of drafting before you're really gonna, figure it out. And I think that the $3 tournament's a fair tournament because you can have 20 entries max, and that's only $60 to max that out. So maybe you could max that out before you start getting into some of these higher paying tournaments, and you can do some experimenting. You can try to do trial by fire, so to speak. Try doing maybe 3 running back builds from the one spot. I've done that a bunch, but I think we're going to go with 2 receivers here because I see a lot of good receivers still on the board. This is unbelievable that I'm up in 3 picks, and Devontae Adams and Nico Collins were still on the board. If Adams makes it to me, I'm absolutely taking him, and I'll be so happy. He's a top guy on the board, though. I doubt he's going to make it. We got Kyron Williams, who I'd love to take here, but, I don't think I'm going to go ahead and take 2 running backs this early because there's a little bit of uncertainty. If I do, I can take 3 straight receivers and just kind of miss tight end in that first 6 picks or 5 picks, I mean. Come on, 4-Digi. You want something? Adams. Good pick. That's what I would have done. Okay. So look at some ADPs here. Cooper Kupp is a good pick here. I think I'm going to go with some high volume pass receivers. I'm torn right now between Mike Evans and the rookie here. But I think for the sake of him looking so good in training camp and Mike Evans not really being in that Jamar Chase Jefferson realm, I'm going to take Nabers, and we're gonna hope that he's, as a rookie, is better than Mike Evans. Another guy I had in mind here was maybe DK Metcalf. He's, I believe, a little further down on Draftkings than he is on some of the other sites. So it's not like he's going to make it back to me, though. I'm at the 1 spot. So here's some strategy advice from the 1 spot. You should not get too caught up in ADP. You should treat ADP more like, is there a chance at all that the guy is there when it comes all the way back to you 22 picks later? And what I mean by that is you should be looking at the ADP. You should be looking ahead in the draft here, and you'll see your teams highlighted in green. And here I'm pick 48 and 49, and then I don't pick again until pick 72 and 73. So, 48, 49, 72, 73. So what I think you should do is you should be looking at the ADP here, and I should be looking at these next picks, maybe all the way down to right around 60, right? 60 is probably about the end of where I want to be drafted, unless I really love somebody that's just beyond that. And those are the guys that I should have in play for my next 2 picks at the turn. I don't have to just pick somebody here at the top, because there's literally going to be no chance the 10 guys after you pick are still left this early in the draft. No, people aren't going to start monumentally sliding in rounds 3, 4, 5, 6. So, you want to give yourself a little cushion and take the best player available. And what you can do is you can go in and pre-rank your guys. And if you're good at this, you can really rank the room, and really create some advantages. And then you can toggle back and forth between what you projected it to be and what the average draft ranking is. And I haven't really done that too much on DraftKings. I've done it completely on Drafters. I have my top 250 set there. And on this site, I do have maybe the top 100 or so figured out in here, but I don't have it the whole 250. So far I have McCaffrey, Kupp, and Neighbors. And that's a good start. I think if it would be in my best interest, unless somebody really slides that shouldn't be there, to take 2 more receivers. And a couple guys that I have in mind, if they make it, are George Pickens and Rashee Rice. I really think that they have, better. They should be picked maybe a little earlier than they're getting picked. There's some guys getting picked before those 2 guys that shouldn't be, in my opinion. And, right now we're looking at Mahomes being still on the board, right? I could take Mahomes and Rice here. I don't have much Mahomes. I prefer when I have the one pick to not take a quarterback too early, because I feel like when I have the one pick, one of the things that always happens to my teams is I end up hating my wide receivers, and I get a lot of good running backs sliding to me at the turns, and I want to take them, but I shouldn't, because when I do, I end up just not being able to fill out my receiving core very well, and I'm really disappointed with the end product. So I think that when you have the one pick, you want to go, McCaffrey, of course, and then just go 4 receivers, whatever the 4 best in your mind are that are on the board, and don't get too caught up in their ADP. Have confidence in your ability to judge who's going to be good. Rashee Rice is a guy that should have been drafted higher this whole time, but everyone was worried about his suspension, right? So I think that right now at this point it's great value at around 50. I think he's going to be a top 20 receiver for sure, and there's already been most of the top 20 receivers drafted. So I'm going to take Pickens. I'm kind of hoping the Steelers don't get Ayuk in that pick, but Pickens' upside is so good with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields being such good deep ball throwers. And I'm going to take Rashee Rice, because I just know I don't like my receivers if I don't do it like this, because I've done 300 drafts and I've probably had 60 drafts from the one spot across all platforms maybe. So now my receiving core is basically set. I'll take a guy if he slides, or if a guy that I'll take. Hey, Bayou, what's up, bud? Yeah, I don't know how many people are on this. I just kind of put it together here, a little tutorial. Not sure if you can hear me at the bar, but very, very cool that you threw me on there. Just doing a little Draftkings draft here. I'm doing a 1.5 million to first. I've been doing one a day. I basically been doing one drafters, one Draftkings, and one underdog draft every single night lately. And I've just been trying to kind of keep it rolling and keeping up with all the camp news and try and take advantage of things before it's too late. Still trying to get good values on guys that I know are trending in the direction of their ADP getting higher. So I've been looking at my player exposures across all platforms, and one thing that I noticed is I only have maybe 2-3 guys total that I have a poor ADP on for the players. And what I mean by that is I've known these guys were going to be getting picked higher, and I've been taking them and for way before they were getting picked higher. And now their ADP is much different than it was when I was picking them. And it looks like I kept getting steals, like they're sliding to me. But the reality was they're not sliding to me. I was just picking them a little bit early, knowing that they were going to eventually go even earlier. And that's one of the things you got to do in these drafts, is have a good idea of trends and keep up with, people that are going higher and lower in the draft. There's sites on X that you can get that information easily. X is amazing for all your football stuff. Bayou Bengals Fantasy Network is amazing. He's out here putting up stuff every single day. Sleazeball Fantasy Football. There's so much good content. Big Draft Energy, Sports Affiliation. There's just so many guys out there that are constantly sharing these videos, and they have a little bit more of a community build up than me. This is my 4th stream ever, so we all support each other, and sometimes the guys will hop on here. If I give them a day's notice, I'll get 20-30 people watching, which I'm more than appreciative for. I'm really doing these videos just to help people that are new to best ball, and I want to help you, learn how to navigate these drafts. One thing, if you're new to best ball, is you want to use your queue. And if you got guys that you like, just don't be afraid to put a little dot on that star, and take and make sure that if something goes wrong on here and it glitches, or you can't make a pick and you got to exit the room, or something weird happens in the draft, at least the guys you really like are queued up. And so what I just did here is I had Walker and Jones and Ingram on my queue, but I realized I actually want Ingram more than Jones. So I click on Jones again to take him off the queue, and then I put him back on. Now he goes under Ingram, and it's a little bit easier in that spot than to move him around on here, because sometimes it gets tricky moving people up and down. It's like they don't want to settle in the right spot. So I'm thinking what I should do here is I should draft Evan Ingram if he slides to me. He's 72. His ADP is 74.3, so I'm praying here that he slides to me. He's my second favorite tight end this year. I think that he's going to be great. He averaged 19.6 or 7 points a game over the last 6 weeks, which was like 3 more points a game than the next best guy. So I want Ingram. I'm going to take Ingram. Okay, so I know I'm going to do that. So I'm going to let this clock run down a little bit so I can think about what I want to do at running back. I got Aaron Jones and James Conner to choose between. All right, so I'm going to take Ingram now with a few seconds left. So I use that time up to think a little. And, Aaron Jones and James Conner present similar situations. Both of them are great when they're healthy. And I could take Zamir White too, because it's not that far down. I think he's going to stay healthier than those guys. I don't know if he's going to produce as well as those guys. I'm going to take Zamir White. I'm going to take Zamir White because I have a thing for Pierce's mentality of a coach, and I think that the way Zamir White looks right now, he's built himself up to be able to handle 25 touches a game, and he was great in the last 4 games last year. I think that Zamir White could finish as a top 10 running back. He's a sleeper. I really like him a lot. He was definitely not going to make it back to me for sure. I think his ADP was 78, and I believe I took him at 72 or 73 or something like that. Let's go back to the draft board. We'll take a little look at everybody's team here. So far I have McCaffrey, Kupp, Neighbors, Pickens, Rice, Ingram, and White. I love my team. What I'm hoping to happen here, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen because Njoku just went already a lot earlier than he normally does. But I'm hoping that one of these top 10 tight ends slides to me. There's 9 of them are gone, right? So I'm hoping nobody else takes a tight end. Look, everybody but this guy has a tight end. Oh, look, no, there's 2 teams with no tight ends, 3 teams with no tight ends. So I'm hoping that those 3 teams are willing to put tight end off one more pick, because I'd really like to get the last top 10 tight end. And if I can do that, I'll be done at tight end, and I won't have to worry about that at all anymore, and that'll be really nice. So I have all my starting positions, and I really like to get 2 more starting running backs. So that's real important to me. It's more important to me than anything else at this point. So if there's 2 good running backs left, I'm going to try to get them. And if I miss out on 2 guys I like, I'm going to try to hold off and hope that Chuba Hubbard slides back to me at the next turn, 22 picks later. So if I'm hoping Chuba Hubbard goes a little later in DraftKings than drafters. So if I miss out on my 4th running back here, I'd like to go tight end running back, best case scenario. And then if not, I'd like to go running back. And if I don't love two running backs, I'm not going to reach because I'm okay with Chuba Hubbard as my fourth when I have Christian McCaffrey, Zamir White, and another guy that I like here. I probably will have a choice between Gus Edwards, Eckler, Ezekiel Elliott. If I'm really lucky, Devin Singletary. That would be best case scenario. Devin Singletary slides. And the reason I took White is because I was really hoping that Devin Singletary would slide to me, and I didn't want to by week 11 things. So I'm just I've done 300 drafts. I know the guys I like coming up that sometimes will slide to me, and I don't want there to be anything that makes me feel like crap, that was a bad pick. And Devin Singletary making it back to me would make there goes Ferguson. So he took Kincaid and Ferguson. He's the only guy in this draft that really has a chance of taking a bully tight end. Since I missed out on a bully tight end build, I'm going to wait on my second tight end a little bit and try to get some correlation with whatever quarterback I get. And I don't know if I'll be able to take a quarterback that has a tight end I like yet or not, but I'm more than likely not gonna reach for that. So I'm up in a couple picks here. Some running backs are on the board. Nothing I really love. Tony Pollard just went. Boy, this is rough. Oh, give me some ADP. I had that on some rankings that I was messing around with. So here I go. I have a chance here to do a really nice Chargers. No, McConkey just went. All right. I have a chance here to do a really nice Jags stack. Okay. I could go Brian Thomas Jr., and then I could wait and hope that Trevor Lawrence makes it back to me about 115. That's around his ADP, I believe. 117, right? So if I take Brian Thomas Jr. here, I'll have Ingram and Brian Thomas Jr., and I'll still have a chance at Gabe Davis around 133, which is around where it comes back to. So I have a really good chance to make a nice stack there. I think I'm going to go Brian Thomas Jr. here. And, I'd really like to get another running back here. It's really disappointing what's sitting here. There's really nothing I love. Oh, there's Singletary. Whew. I'm going to take Singletary. Why were you down so far, Singletary? Well, you were definitely not making it back to me at 117. That's for sure. Okay, so when I ditched the second tight end idea, it got me to be able to get a ADP of 109 a little early, but I really like the guy. I like him more than all these other guys that are out here. I like Zach Moss and I like Chase Brown, but right now it seems like there's really not a clear-cut leader in the pack. I've been wanting to get on the Chase Brown train pretty hard, but Zach Moss was number one on the depth chart when they released it yesterday. And everybody's saying Chase Brown's getting more work in camp. I don't know what to think. So I just avoided it that time. I've been trying to take Chase Brown a little bit lately. I don't have a lot of Zach Moss. See, the thing I have about Zach Moss is he couldn't beat out Devin Singletary when he was on the Bills. And the Bills, I'm a Bills fan. And Devin Singletary, see my Bills stuff? So Devin Singletary, he was a better running back out of the two, and Moss is going ahead of Singletary. And the Bengals line's been trash for years. I'm not worried about, missing out on a timeshare running back in Cincinnati when I know I can get the guy that I think is going to be the bell cow back with the Giants. And I think the Giants offense is a little underrated. It's not that I'm trying to tell you that you have to draft, I'm not trying to say you have to draft Daniel Jones and Devin Singletary and and Slayton and all that, but I'm probably going to do that this time. This is going to be a Giants build. I'm gonna more than likely have Daniel Jones. I'm more likely going to have Slayton, and I'm going to have the whole Giants offense here, and I'm going to hope for the best. I don't really think it's that bad of a move, as long as it's your secondary stack, not your primary, right? So I'm hoping to get Trevor Lawrence first. So best case scenario here, Trevor Lawrence falls to me. It's pick 108. I got 11 picks to go. Let's take a look at the draft board some. So far I have Christian McCaffrey, Cooper Kupp, Neighbors, Pickens, Rice, Ingram, White, Brian Thomas Jr., Devin Singletary. Okay, I love that. And I like Singletary more than all these running backs that have been taken after him so far. Maybe I like Nick Chubb more, but there's a chance Chubb falls to you. He falls a lot in these drafts, much farther than my next pick. So, I don't think that there's a huge chance that I wanted to take him that high yet. Goddard went. Goddard's a nice little cuff there for Kittle. He's got Hurts, Kittle, and Goddard. What a nice start. Brock Purdy just went. He might have been thinking to take Brock or Goddard. All right, so I got 3 running backs and I got 5 receivers, and I don't have a QB yet, but I'm hoping that Lawrence makes it to me. Who's got his receivers? Kirk. All right, Kirk's on the clock right now. That'd be the only other risk probably of Lawrence going. So if Lawrence doesn't go right here, I'm probably in the clear. So there goes my number one option for my number one stack. And I had such a better stack built than him. And he took him like 8 picks or 10 picks early or something. So he reached for that stack, and I'm going to pay for it. I was hoping that I could build my roster with that. Now here's the thing. I don't have to go QB here. I want to build some correlation, right? So I could go Stafford later still. I'm hoping to get Daniel Jones later. So maybe this is a good 3 QB build. This is a 20-round draft, so I could do that if I want. I got some good QBs left here, but I really need another couple running backs, in my opinion. If I could get 2 more starting running backs right now, I think that my running back room would be absolutely jacked. And it does look like there's a chance of that. I'm on the clock. I got Ezekiel Elliott and Edwards on the clock. Do I even need to look at anything else? I don't think so. Ezekiel Elliott, Gus Edwards, welcome to the squad. So the squad so far is McCaffrey, White, Kupp, Neighbors, Pickens, Ingram, Rice, Brian Thomas Jr., Singletary, Elliott, and Gus Edwards. I got no bad bye weeks for my running backs. All 5 guys have a different bye week. 5, 7, 9, 10, and 11, which is really nice because I have a full stack of guys on the 2 biggest bye weeks of the year, week 12 and 14. And I don't have a whole lot of 12 and 14 guys yet. I only have a couple Jacksonville guys, so should be able to really make up a lot of ground on the league that week. It's a little thing. So I want to go Stafford and Gabe Davis. He's probably going to take Gabe Davis, the guy that just took Trevor Lawrence. I really like those guys. Lockett would be a nice pick, but there's no way he keeps sliding like that. Schultz had like third most red zone targets last year in the league, or end zone targets at tight end. I love Myers. I still don't have a QB, so I'm kind of in trouble here at QB a little bit. I don't want Cousins. Gabe Davis just went. I'd love to take Stafford and Herbert right there at the turn. I'd be fine with that. I have Cup, and I love Herbert's value if he keeps sliding. Really, there's no other two QBs I'd want to take that high. Even if their ADPs are in that zone, I don't really want those guys at those ADPs. I'll take some later guys. Chuba Hubbard is a guy, his ADP is 146. That's right around where I pick. If Chuba Hubbard's still there, or Rico Dowdle's still there, because I have Elliott. Oh, gosh. Or Dobbins. Ugh. I have such a mess at these questionable running back situations. I'm going to pass, I think, on receiver unless maybe Lockett. Hawkinson, I'm going to wait and see if you slide 20 picks. Sometimes you slide 20 picks. If you do, I'll take you. Wow, maybe not. My queue's getting pretty thin already. All the guys I've been queuing are gone. Stafford's gone. Man, this is brutal. Okay, so I got Pickens, and I got Neighbors. I'm going to maybe do a little bit of a weird build here, and I might go with Justin Fields, Daniel Jones, and Russell Wilson as my three quarterbacks. It's really reaching, but I got a pretty stacked team, and I'd have the Steelers quarterback situation. However, it should pan out, and I'd have Daniel Jones, and I could get Slayton too, and I'd have a nice little giant stack here. So, technically speaking, I should be able to do that at the next turn. I should be able to wait on QB here and not go Mayfield, Rodgers, or Watson. I don't have any correlation with any of those guys at all. I want some correlation. I'm going to try to build correlation, and by not taking these quarterbacks, it'll drastically increase the chance that the other guys slide to me. So there's some strategy here, and not taking some guys that you're not completely sold on. Chuba Hubbard and Dobbins are still left. If I take those two guys, I should be done at running back. Downs is there. He's a great player. There goes the guy that I probably didn't want out of the two anyway. Okay. Downs, Thielen. Downs is already hurt with a high ankle sprain, but he should be ready by week 2 or 3 at the very latest. Thielen had 100 catches last year, but they brought in a bunch of good people. I've really been liking Downs stuff in preseason. But Thielen had 100 catches for 1,000 yards last year. I'm going to take him. Downs is a little iffy with his injury. So, all right, let's look at the draft board. Draft board says I have Christian McCaffrey, Cooper Kupp, Neighbors, Pickens, Rice, Engram, White, Thomas, Singletary, Elliott, Edwards, Hubbard, and Thielen. That kind of opens up Bryce Young for me too, maybe in a 3-quarterback build. So I still don't have a quarterback. So I'm in trouble. At least the guys down here on the end all have 2-3 quarterbacks already. So everybody down here that's by me is probably done at quarterback in their draft. He's got Daniels, Williams, and Mayfield. He's got Stroud and Tua. He's got Goff and Mahomes. He's got Jackson and Love. He's probably done now, Lawrence and Geno. So we'll see what happens down here. But if it makes it through the turn, if it makes it back through the turn here, with my guy still on the clock, I'm probably gonna it's probably gonna make it to me. I shouldn't have any worry at all. I'm going QB here, next 2 picks, almost for sure. If I can't get correlation, I'm just gonna have to take the 2 best guys. It's desperation mode on QB. You can't wait past rounds 14 and 15 to take your first QBs. It's risky to wait that long, but if you're good, you could still get a top 15 guy or 2. You just have to be smart. So let's look at some of these other teams. This guy's on the clock right now. He's got Herbert, Musgrave, Shaheed, Sutton, Chubb, Mostert, Prescott, Allen, Andrews, Cooper, Gibbs, Taylor, Diggs. Pretty good squad. Barkley, Pacheco, Laporta, Moore, McLaurin, Williams, Dobbs, Richardson, and Purdy, Javante, Kendre. I don't know why I was taking Kendre Miller there. That doesn't make any sense. But, I mean, he's got a good team, so I'm not going to try to pick him apart over something so stupid. Let's see. The notifications are going bonkers right now. So Eagles on the clock. He's got Chase, A-Chain, Ayuk, Flowers, Kirk, Adunze. He's got a lot of receivers, but a lot of guys that I think don't have the best ADP. I mean, Kirk should be getting picked before Flowers, so I guess if I could just mentally flip those, that's good. Adunze, Smith-Njigba's 2 guys that I'm not in on, but I see what he's doing. He's trying to get a really stacked receiving core and just hope for the best. See what they've been drafting. I think I'm hoping for some QBs. They're going to all slide to me now. None of these guys in front of me are going to take a QB. Johnson, Algier. So I'm up in 2 picks. We'll go back to the drawing board here. Take a look at everything. Got it by ADP right now. Hunter Henry went. I'm on deck. Justin Fields is there. Okay, so for the sake of correlation, I'm going to take Justin Fields, and he might not even play this year, so that's my first quarterback. But the upside of that is if he does play, I could potentially have, a top 5 guy, right? Especially if they traded for Ayuk and Fields wins the job. So there's no other chance for me to have a top 5 quarterback right now. Daniel Jones could be a top 15 guy with these weapons, so that was my target. I took him about 7-8 picks before ADP, which is perfectly fine to do this late in the draft. You can take a guy 20 picks before ADP if you really think that it's going to help you. If it's a guy that you just don't want to miss out on and you're picking at the 1 spot, and there's a chance that if he's 20 picks later in the ADP, you might not get him. So I'm going to queue up Russell Wilson here, and I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to get him. His ADP is 208. So let's see. My next 2 picks are 192, and then I don't pick again until 216. So I'm going to have to take Russell Wilson next. So that'll give me Russell Wilson, Daniel Jones, and Justin Fields. He should slide to me. If he doesn't, that means somebody took him like 13 picks, more than 13 picks before his ADP. So the strategy is a pretty good strategy. I'll tell you why. Because the Steelers have the most undervalued fantasy value, the wrong fantasy value on their quarterback room as anybody in the league. They should have definitely have top 20 production out of whoever the quarterback ends up being. Both guys have a great deep ball, and George Pickens probably one of the best deep ball trackers in the whole league, and I believe in Pickens' ability to have a great season with either Justin Fields or Russell Wilson. What I'm not so sold on is Pat Freiermuth. I love Freiermuth. Muth's a great tight end, and I think he'd do great in a lot of situations, but I'm not sold on him getting very good fantasy production if Russell Wilson's a starting quarterback. I think that Wilson's severely handicapped in his ability to throw over the middle. It's a problem. Defenses know it. It's so easy to take away the middle of the field with Russell Wilson at quarterback. So, my opinion about Russell Wilson is he's probably going to lose the job to Justin Fields this year. That's what I honestly think. And in this situation, I'm on my team. I have on my team George Pickens, and I'm probably going to draft Van Jefferson or maybe Kelvin Austin in my last round pick, because those guys probably will be there in round 20, or maybe in round 19. I'll take a flyer, and I'll build a nice little stack with the Steelers offense, and I'll try to do the same thing with Darius Slayton when it comes into the pick 18-19 turn. I'm hoping that he makes it back to me there. Let's see where Slayton is for ADP. Xavier Legette's still on the board, 20 picks past ADP. He is a beast. I have a feeling that he's going to figure something out by the end of the year. Mims is a great value. He's probably going to win the number 2 job. He's a great deep threat. He might be the returner. In Draftkings, they give you 6 points for a return touchdown. So he might get you 12, 24 points if all things go real smooth. Tolbert and Slayton are there. Dortch, another guy I love. Khalif Raymond, another guy I love. Josh Reynolds, probably the slot guy in Denver. He's really good last year. Van Jefferson, Juwan Jennings, probably going to take the Ayuk position if that happens. So there's a lot of good late round guys here. Mingo could be well. Johnny Wilson is 6'7", and he's probably going to end up being the 3rd receiver in Philadelphia. I watched his film. He's incredible. I'm telling you right now, that guy's one of the most physically talented people I've ever seen in my life. He's 6'7". He runs. When he runs, he looks like he's 6'2", 215. You had no idea he's 6'7" until you see him next to someone. He just has like this body composition of a regular person, but he's huge, and he's fast. He runs like a 4.5. He can high point it. He can, he's got some drops, but his highlights are incredible. He's better than I think he's got a good chance to do anything Marquez Valdez-Scantling's done. All right, so we're going to look at everything here. Picks, but I'm going to run this down so I can think a little. Right, I got the next guy that's supposed to get picked is Mims. Come on, what's going on here? Hello, I had a little issue here with I had a little issue there. I got kicked off, and I went on auto at the same time. So I'm back in the stream, and I was just trying to say that there's a good thing I was using my Q, right? Because if I wasn't using my Q, I could have ended up with some guys that I really didn't want on my team. I had Wilson at the top, and I had Mims at the top, and I think that Mims has great value on this format. I think that having a deep threat that's also potentially the return guy is super valuable on DraftKings. So I wanted to take him, and now I have to hope that Slayton makes it back to me. I got my whole thing is queued up with wide receivers right now. My team so far is a 3-6-7-1 build. So I still need, another tight end before it's all said and done. I have, in my mind, the number 2 tight end. So I'm not too concerned about my second tight end. Daniel Jones is my quarterback, so I might do like a Theo Johnson. That's a decent opportunity there. He'd probably be there pretty late. That'll give me a chance for some correlation. So let's see. Theo Johnson, where you at, bud? Where you at? Jelani Woods is a guy I like. He's available late. Theo Johnson's a guy I like. What's it saying about Theo Johnson? Oh, boy. He's listed as a 4th stringer, but he notes the depth chart doesn't reflect what reporters have been seeing. In other words, he's still in the mix to start, despite being a rookie 4th-round pick who opened on a PUP list. He took a lot of first-team reps the second day after being activated, and he continued into the second week of training camp, albeit with Daniel Bellinger also involved with the first-team offense. So Theo Johnson's a freak of an athlete, like Jelani Woods. So I sure would hate to have to go 3 QB and 3 tight ends. That would not be ideal. Do I like any of these other tight ends? Do I like any of these guys enough to just have 2? Ugh. Oh, man. Juwan Johnson could really be good in that role. He's in the Kittle role. The Saints have San Francisco's offensive coordinator now, or their quarterback's coach is their offensive coordinator or something. They have one of the San Francisco coaches, and they're going to run that. 49ers based offense, and it's really good with the tight ends. And Johnson really is a good athlete. I mean, he's a stud athlete. So I'm thinking about maybe putting him in the queue, but I don't know. All right, I'm going to refresh this. I got a little something going on here. Okay, Johnson was just picked. All right, so far I have Justin Fields, which is terrible at my first quarterback, but I've done the right thing so far, and I built some correlation with my other guy, with Daniel Jones, and I also have Russell Wilson, who's number 1 on the depth chart as we talk right now. And I think that out of Wilson and Fields, we should have a pretty good QB, and I think that Daniel Jones has a chance. This is maybe a team that I consider a 4th quarterback on if there's one available in round 20. But I don't want to reach for a guy. I maybe just take a guy because he's there round 20, like Sam Darnold or something like that. It's round 18 right now. There's one guy I wouldn't mind getting if he's still here. Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason is McCaffrey's number 2 on the depth chart when it was released. Jordan Mason. Elijah Mitchell was number 2 on the depth chart until now, and he was going around pick 173. Now Jordan Mason is still on the board, and it's pick 216. So I think I'd be a fool to not handcuff Christian McCaffrey here. And then I want Slayton for that stack of neighbors, Slayton, Singletary, and Daniel Jones. So I was hoping he slid to me. That was best case scenario in my mind, getting those 2 guys. So right now, I have 3 QBs, 7 running backs, 8 wide receivers, and a tight end. And I've already made 19 picks. I only have 1 pick left. So I have to get rid of all these guys that are on the board at receiver, no matter how much I like them. And I have to come up with a second tight end, and he can't be by week 12 because Evan Ingram's by week 12. So I got Jelani Woods right now as kind of my number 1 guy. Oh, gosh. Jatavian Sanders was, in my mind, the second best tight end going into the draft, and I'm pretty sure he's running with ones a lot in Carolina right now. I could see a world where he contributes in fantasy as a rookie. I'm going to put him on my queue. He's going to be more like the backup plan to Jelani Woods. Jelani Woods had a perfect 10 RAS. He was in line to be the starting tight end last year in Indianapolis, and he got hurt and missed the whole season. And he's been back and healthy, and they've been running kind of a rotation in training camp with about 3 or 4 guys, and they really haven't declared a starter yet. But Jelani Woods is by far the most physically talented. He's 6'7", 260 pounds, and he runs a 4.6. He has great hands. He can catch the ball from all different angles. I think you can pretty much just throw it up to the guy. So if I'm taking a tight end in round 20, Jelani Woods makes it to me, I'm ecstatic. It's probably the only guy even that's been picked in the last 4 rounds that I feel comfortable saying could be a solid tight end 2 without the need of a tight end 3 on my roster because I have him. So Will Dissly's another guy that I'm going to put on here. Will Dissly. Oh, where are you, Will Dissly? Did you just go, Will Dissly? Okay, Will Dissly. So Will Dissly was the 15th highest graded tight end in Pro Football Focus last year. He was like the number one highest graded pass blocking tight end with a pass blocking grade around 79. And he was like top 3 run blocking tight end with a run blocking grade of around 75. And then his receiving grade was like 60. And, that's not great, but he can catch the ball, and he's the best blocker, and he's playing in Greg Roman's scheme, and he's a good athlete, and he's a huge dude. He had a great college career. And then Hayden Hurst come to town too, but Dissly signed a $14.5 million contract, and Hayden Hurst signed a $1.2 million contract. And I looked at Hayden Hurst's grades the other day, and his receiving grade was in the 40s. His pass blocking grade was excellent. It was like 72. And then his run blocking grade was terrible. It was in the 40s as well. So, I'm a big believer that Will Dissly might have a chance of scoring 6 to 10 touchdowns this year and having, a little spike week potential as a good tight end too. He might be able to be a guy that helps you have, a little bit higher floor. If you have to go 3 tight ends, he's maybe a guy to consider in round 20 as a late round sleeper. I'm going to go Jelani Woods if he makes it to me. This is my last pick. If he doesn't make it to me, I think I'm going to go Dissly over Sanders, over the fact that I just believe in the tight end and Greg Roman offense. So Woods probably has the biggest upside. He's probably the only guy here that I think could finish as a top. He's the only guy here that I think could finish with 50 catches, 600 yards, and 6+ touchdowns. Dissly, I think, is more like a 40 catch, 400 yards, maybe 7 or 8 touchdowns, but not as involved. And Sanders, Tommy Tremble's there, and he's a pretty good athlete. He moves well. So I'm not about to just take Sanders unless I have Bryce Young. I could take Sanders off. All right, Jelani Woods it is. We're going to stay. We're going to take a quick look at the draft board. So my team has Christian McCaffrey, Cooper Kupp, Malik Nabers, George Pickens, Rashid Rice, Brian Thomas Jr., Adam Thielen, Marvin Mims, and Darius Slayton. So I think I have a pretty good receiving core here. I don't really have, any guys that I don't believe in. Slayton, I think, is going to have 800 yards. Mims, I think, is going to have a nice role there, and he's got really good deep ball potential. Obviously, at the top with Kupp, Nabers, Pickens, Rice, and Thomas, I'm pretty good there. And Thielen is just old reliable. He really helps, make sure that you don't have less than 12 points any week. Running back, McCaffrey, Zamir White, Devin Singletary, Ezekiel Elliott, Gus Bus, and Chuba Hubbard. And then I got Jordan Mason in there just to hopefully he's the handcuff when it's all said and done. So I got that San Francisco running back field possibly tied up through the year, best case scenario. And then, man, do I have a nice option for RB2 and flex every week between White, Singletary, Elliott, Gus Bus, and Chuba. My goodness, right? So I can count on the 49ers running game every week being in my lineup. It's almost never going to be out of the top 15, even on a bad week. And then I get to choose. I mean, it's just going to put in the best out of all these guys: White, Singletary, Elliott, Edwards, Hubbard. Those guys could all do really well this year. I could see all those guys having 10 touchdowns. I could see 10 touchdowns on the cards for all those guys. 5 of them. Tight end is not my ideal tight end build. I like to get 2 tight ends by Njoku, but Njoku went like 18 picks early maybe. So once that happened, I was feeling kind of hopeless on that, but I did get Evan Ingram, who is my tight end 2. I got my tight end 2 in PPR formats, which this is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th tight end drafted. So you couldn't possibly tell me I got better value than that. I mean, that is ideal value for me. So I love Jelani Woods with him. I don't need a superstar second tight end. I'm not going to take the chance with 7 running backs and 3 QBs. I'm not going to take 3 tight ends when I have my number 2 guy on my team. So I already believe I have a good foundation there, and I'm not going to reach once I missed out on the guys that I thought were worth those picks. So, well, I appreciate everybody, and I'm gonna get off here. So smash a like and give me a subscription. It's free. It's going to remain free. I'm going to have a whole bunch of good content on my website, NFLDFSpicks.com, coming up here soon. I'm just about to go live with my website. I just have to update my top 250 rankings. I got to figure out a way to copy and paste them into a Word document. I'm struggling with getting it in a format that looks right. So I just had to mess around with that for a minute. So I'm going to get off here, and I hope you got something out of this.